Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Second Chance Live, where we're all about living powerfully in your second chance. I'm your host, Daryl Stinson, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm a former Division I athlete who attempted suicide multiple times because I didn't think that I had purpose beyond sports. I had this back injury that caused me to have emergency surgery, and I put my body through 2 years of drug addiction and pain and manipulating the healthcare system and selling drugs to cover my medical expenses, all to numb my pain to play the game of football, because I just thought if I could just get it, I would feel better about me. But external success does not equate to internal success. And so I'm excited. We've got a powerful guest, Meaghan Murphy, here to talk with us today. Meaghan B. Murphy, just so we can get her brand right. How you doing today, Meaghan?
I'm pretty great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure. We're going to have a blast. Guys, you know how this works. I'm going to read her bio. And as I do that, I'm going to ask you to click that share button, invite people. We're going to talk about how to maximize your second chance. 2020 was a year of setback for many people, but I believe that 2021 is going to be your year of the comeback. And so we want to talk about how you can take those pains and turn it into profits and purpose and promises, because that is what is going to happen throughout this episode today. So go ahead and click that share button while I read her bio, and then I'll promise I will shut up. I won't say anymore, and we'll learn more about her journey, her expertise. So Meaghan B. Murphy is an author, editor, on-air personality, lifestyle and health expert, and influencer. Man, she's also a home hack master. What is that? What's a home hack master?
I'm full of tricks to make life easier, and I can teach you how to fold a fitted sheet. I can help you scrub a dishpan without actually scrubbing it. I've got magical cleaning and organizing hacks always up my sleeves.
Oh my gosh. If I would have knew that prior to this interview, I would have so asked you to do a demonstration on how to fold.
Oh my gosh. I have tons of it. I used to have a show that was just all hacks. So I got you.
So can we still find it? Because I promise you.
Yeah, if you go to NBC Better, I have a whole series called Better Ways. And it was better ways to do things. So it would be like better ways to clean your sink, better ways to use lemon, better ways to use vinegar. It's like 1,000,009 things to do with a pool noodle.
Oh, I'm so binge watching that stuff because I love that type of stuff.
It's fun.
Yeah, it sounds super fun. It's super fun. So anyways, we might talk about that a little bit more later.
Okay.
You're also a certified trainer. She was recently named content director of Women's Day, which
since we left, I actually just was promoted to editor-in-chief. I guess I was doing a good job.
There we go. A new promotion on our show. If I had my bell, which I don't right now, process of switching offices, I would so ring the bell.
We used to ring the bell in the magazine. Anytime we sold an ad or something good happened, it'd be like ring, 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 ring.
I'm all about ringing the bell, bringing the energy high. I'm so for it. Well, so editor-in-chief now. Wow, that was short.
I started my job in the beginning of the pandemic, and I guess they were happy with the work I was doing, so they leveled up my title. What?
Wow. Well, now we know that your experience used to be executive editor of Good Housekeeping, where you helped dust off and reimagine the 130-year-old megabrand with a soup to nuts redesign that took a more modern, fun, and can-do approach to domestically boosting the magazine's cool factor in its readership in its coveted 18 to 34 category without losing its core older audience. You know what? I actually can relate to that. When I worked for Central Michigan University, and my degree is in integrated public relations, I worked in the communications department at my alma mater, and we had the library there had a newsletter, and it was super old and outdated, but you had all these donors who just loved how it was. And so the fear, if we modernized it, was that we would lose that audience. And so I actually did a similar thing on a lower level at our university library newspaper. So I know that is
a
very
fun challenge.
It is a fun challenge, but it was so much better though, because you got to see full page spreads instead of just like factual stuff. We weren't talking about the technology updates and giving it a whole article. Instead, we were telling stories of transformation. So it was much better, and they still continue that model to today. So I feel very accomplished. Anyways, this is not about me. Let me finish reading your bio. Along with guiding Women's Day creative vision, which reaches 18 million readers each month, Meaghan also develops develops strategic partnerships across all platforms and conceives of new ways to generate revenue and promotes WD in the media as a regular guest expert on Live with Kelly and Ryan, Today, GMA, The Dr. Oz Show, and many more. Additionally, she's been featured on many radio shows and podcasts, including this one, and she co-hosted conversations with Maria, Sirius XM, Fashion Weekly, The Daily Front Row. I mean, this girl is everything. She is a Jersey native, a Jersey girl. You know, it's funny. Our last guest was from Jersey too, and she married her younger brother's best friend. You know, when I read that, I had to read it twice because I was like, she married her younger brother. Like, I'm not reading that, and I was like, oh, her younger brother best friend, Pat, and together they live in Westfield with their Irish triplets. How cool is that? In Labradoodle,
they're not actually triplets. We call them Irish triplets because they're all 15 months apart. So I have a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 7-year-old. But they're so close together that they call them Irish triplets.
Bummer. I was so happy. Do you know my favorite dog is a Labradoodle?
Oh, my Dempsey. I love my Dempsey.
So will you bring her on screen before the end of the show?
You know what? We'll see. He's so chill and loud, but sometimes he breaks down the door. So you never know. You could easily get Zoom bombed by him.
Okay, just at the end, just so I can get my Labradoodle fixed because we have not got ours yet because I just don't want to take care of the dog.
I mean, but the love is kind of so unconditional. There's nothing like a good puppy love.
I know. All right, I'm done yakking. Meaghan, tell us what.
Well, the biggest thing we didn't mention is my new book is coming out February 23rd. Your Fully Charged Life. This is what I'm pumped about.
Yes. And I'm pumped. I'm going to order it. Matter of fact, it's available for pre-order right now. Am I correct?
If you pre-order it now, you'll have it on February 23rd. It hits stores on February 23rd.
So excited. So talk about what was it like authoring a book?
Well, it's interesting because I've been a magazine journalist for like 20 plus years. And I always knew I had a book in me. And I just felt sort of called, like this book was my purpose. And a lot of things led to the writing of it. But I worked for, I feel like I've been working on it for 20 years, but I've probably been working on it for about 3 years from the time I signed with an agent, worked on the proposal, shopped the proposal, sold the proposal, and wrote the book. I finished the book at the early days of the pandemic while I was homeschooling 3 kids and had just taken the new job at Women's Day, which was pretty surreal. But yeah, so it's called Your Fully Charged Life, and it's a radically simple approach to having endless energy and filling every day with yay. And it sort of looks at the different areas of your life and gives tips and tricks and strategies to operate at full battery in all of those things. So whether it's the health charge, how to protect your sleep and move your body to feel better, the positive charge, how to retrain your brain to more automatically see the positive. The love charge, how important the relationships are, not just with your spouse or your mother-in-law, but like the cashier at the grocery store, and how all of those relationships and interactions have the power to power you forward and boost your happiness. It looks at the extra charge, how important it is to like celebrate every day, have a favorite color, dress up to feel up. And then the recharge chapter is really about resilience. And I think something that you'll really relate to. I've had some crap life experiences that were sort of the springboard for my success and changed the way I saw the world. And I call them gifts, and I'm grateful for that adversity.
I love it. And I actually would like to learn a little bit more about, the thought process that went into, this is what I want to write a book about. Because I know that, It's fascinating to hear those stories of how it conceptualized.
For me, it was sort of the thing that I say to people is like, what do people come to you for? What does everybody ask you for? What is it like? For me, it was people were like, oh, I just want to harness your positive energy. How can I bottle your positive energy? I wish I could have that secret sauce. And I was like, well, listen, I trained to live this way, and I can't mainline my vein and like drain my secret juju, but I can write a book about it and share that. And that's sort of found that was my purpose. That's what people came to me for. That's what people wanted from me. And I think that's what we all need to kind of, that's the moment of self-reflection. Yeah. What do people ask of me? What do they come to me for? Because that's the passion and purpose. That's where it comes from. And so it wasn't like I had to do it. I just knew I had to do this book. It was in me. It was my mission. Like I know clearly what my legacy is, and I want my legacy to be one of leaving positive energy
Mm.
and doing happy. And so there was no choice for this. I also had lost my father 5 years ago, and to pancreatic cancer very suddenly. And through his death, which I consider a gift, I kind of undertook something that I call Operation Good Grief, which was a mission to find some good and some positive in every day and document it. So
Mm.
I would take a picture of something that didn't suck and post it on Instagram with the hashtag Operation Good Grief. And I kept that up for 2 years. And I
Wow.
sort of created a bit of a community around it of people who were also going through hard times, suffering, like going through loss. And we sort of became a community of grief mentors for each other and helped each other get through it. And in that process, I really knew that the book is dedicated to Pop, my cardinal, and it was 100%. This book is for him. I wanted him to see that, like, I could move through that and I could move through anything.
Mm.
My inherent disposition is negativity. Like, I'm a nickname was grumpy as a kid. I was kind of a miserable pain in the ass. I had some crap life experiences. I was an anorexic in my teen years with my best friend. And she subsequently died jumping out of a car on the way to be hospitalized with me. And so that was a pretty traumatic experience for a 16-year-old. I went through
Oh my
treatment
God.
and I got help. I ultimately wrote an essay about it, which earned me a $10,000 college scholarship. And I wound up being on a TV show, and I wound up getting a magazine article. So from that really bad situation, a lot of good things happened.
Mm.
Subsequently, her family also tried to sue me for talking about it, and obviously they didn't get very far because it was true and she had been
Mhm.
deceased. But that was hard. So kind of moving through all of that also gave me strength. But it wasn't until my 20s where I sort of had like an awakening that, like, I don't have to live this way. I don't have to be miserable. I can find the A in every day and sort of change the way I move through the world. And I better start doing that, or it's going to
Mm.
be a long life.
Mm. Wow. I mean, you covered a lot, and I'm curious to, talk about that tension of being sued or attacked by someone who you were close with, right?
Well, it was a very, I mean, I was like 17 and I'm getting, or 18 at that point, getting served papers in my college dorm. And it was at one point I had, her parents' blessing, like, yes, tell the story, talk about it, let's save other people from going through such a terrible thing. And then the next breath, it was like, you can't talk, we're going to sue you for talking about it. It was very confusing.
Mm.
And I already felt so much guilt and so much blame surrounding her death. So that it was hard. It was really, really hard. I feel great now as a 45-year-old mother of three that feels like someone else's life. It's nice that I'm so far removed from it and
Right.
so far beyond it.
Right.
But it also taught me that I can do hard things. I can get through hard things, that I will be okay. And I'm certainly stronger for it. And it really did kind of, from that crap experience, my whole career was born, really, because I wrote about it.
Mm. I love it. You're phenomenal for that. I know a lot of people who've been through less and they can't forgive and move on, and they're still stuck at that last place of pain, but you've been able to pull yourself up, find the positive, and become who you are. I want to get into the book material, but first I want to ask about life in the media. Last year was so crazy with the political and the things that came to the surface. And how do you remain centered in the midst of all of that?
Well, I'm really lucky because I got to reinvent a magazine in the midst of all that. So I took over Women's Day, which I like to unofficially call Women's Yay. And I kind of reimagined it as destination celebration, no party left behind from Taco Tuesday to Christmas. I basically said, let's make a magazine that is a joyful escape for people.
Mm.
Because I think finding the good, finding reasons to celebrate,
Mm.
getting excited about things is not frivolous, it's necessary,
Mm.
right? So we have made this just really joyful, fun magazine that celebrates all people, every race, every religion, every disability, age, you name it. And it's a celebration of people. We have a whole section called Finding Joy, where we celebrated military heroes, we celebrated teachers, we celebrated people who did amazingly fun things during the pandemic to get through it. A woman who ran around the neighborhood in a unicorn costume on her 40th birthday because, you know what, she couldn't have a party.
Right.
Like, that's what we do. We are going to like give you the most epic way to decorate or celebrate. And we are going to make sure if it's National S'more Day, you know it, and that you make sure that those graham crackers and chocolate and marshmallows find each other.
I
Because
know
guess
that's
what?
right.
That's important. When you have those happy distractions and you have those things to look forward to, when you have happy makers on your calendar, whether it is National Donut Day or Christmas, that's important, right? You have to punctuate life with those moments of joy. So, amidst all this really, really, really hard stuff, I tried to help my audience focus on the good that was actually still there, and to really, really amplify it. In my house alone, I mean, the pandemic was not easy on us. I mean, I have 3 kids. My husband and I are now both suddenly working from home. And I'm finishing a book. I'm starting a new magazine. I also host a podcast. Um, and it was hard. I mean, I'm teaching kindergarten in one breath and on a Zoom call with my CEO in the next. I mean, it was hard.
Yeah.
But in the midst of that, you start to look for the silver linings. Taco Tuesday literally became a national holiday in this house. Every time we lived for it. We were like, okay, we're going to make garland this week. Oh my gosh, we ordered matching taco shirts. Oh my goodness, like now we have placemats. We made DIY Taco Tuesday placemats. We elevated Taco Tuesday every week. So to this day, now we have like light up taco lights. We experiment with different hot sauces. Like, that's what we did to get through it. And it sounds so silly, but Taco Tuesday probably was one of the biggest factors that helped Team Murphy weather this awful, awful storm and all of the crazy stuff that
Yeah.
came with it.
Yeah. Man, I get it. You got to find something, right? You got to switch
I
it up. You
do.
got to build memories, and I applaud you for that. You know, one of the things that I'm stuck on, which is why I'm kind of stuttering, is I'm fascinated not just by what people achieve and do, but how they think. And I'm curious, like let us into your thought process of when you're looking at this magazine and you're like, man, I wanna recreate it. I wanna freshen it up. I wanna make it something that's never been before while honoring the past history. Like what are you looking at? What are you seeing? What is your thought process behind your creativity?
So a lot of times, so first I'm always trying to solve a problem, right? Like, I figure if I have the problem, someone else has the problem. So let's solve the problem. And very much when I was looking at Women's Day, it was like, you know what the problem is right now? Life is scary and it is hard, and the news cycle is abominable. And I want to crawl in a hole and die, so everybody else must too. So let's be the antidote to that.
I
Let's
love
be
it.
the antidote to that.
Oh,
And
that's
that's
good.
really what I set out to do. I said to my team, who I've never met in person because we had to do this all via Zoom. I mean, I took the job. I left Good Housekeeping and went to Women's Day and never even cleaned out my Good Housekeeping office. That's how crazy it was. I took the job at the very high, like March 12th, probably the last day I was ever in the city was when I took the job. So I've never even met my team in person. But when we fun filter everything, I basically say, like, if you can put it through the fun filter, do it. Right? Like, if that's not fun, fun filter it. Like, let's add a knock knock joke to the front door decor story. Let's have a talking air fryer cartoon. Let's make the heart health story like the most fun illustration. Let's make a otherwise potentially like scary or serious topic. Let's find the light in it so that people can digest it and actually use the information because there's a fun factor.
Mm. I love it. I love the term fun filter. I'm gonna steal that from you.
Yeah, do it. It's my whole team. I'm like, no, fun filter that. And they know what I mean now. Like,
Yeah.
it'll come back. I'm like, oh, now it's fun filtered. Okay.
Yeah. Talk about being a female leader in today's time. I know that everyone's experience is different. So I don't want to assume that you had a tough go at
Mhm.
it or that people, didn't give you opportunities because they didn't take you seriously. But I'm a father of three girls, and I'm always fascinated to learn about women finding their voice and carving out their path. So would love to learn from you in that regard.
I feel that I'm lucky because I am in sort of a female dominated industry. Most magazine editor in chiefs are female. And it is a kind of a female dominated space. I've never felt less than as a woman. Um, I do think millennials probably sometimes roll their eyes at me. I do sometimes feel like the old lady in the room at this point. Um, but I'm confident in my abilities, and my confidence has always carried me.
Mhm. Mm. What do you feel sets you apart from other people?
Positive energy.
Mm.
I think here's the thing, like if you do something with enthusiasm and joy, it's contagious. And maybe it's not the best thing or the right thing, but if you do it with enthusiasm and joy and passion, that can be so contagious. Like if I'm trying to sell you an idea and I'm so excited, like you're gonna love the idea too. I know you are, because I'm gonna be so convincing in my enthusiasm. And I think that is my secret sauce. Like I get excited. I'm not afraid to get excited.
Mm.
And when I do, I'm pretty sure I can get you excited too.
I love it. I love the confidence in that, and I agree. Because to me, you can't have that energy if you don't have the right attitude. And it starts with what you've been describing about just finding the fun in the chaos and finding the good and the bad. And it's almost like I love it because it's almost like your life forced you to do that, or else you probably wouldn't have made it through. And now you're kind of giving that to others through your book, through your magazine, through your leadership, and I love it. Let's get into the book a little bit more.
Sure.
Talk about what's what's your intention? Like, fast forward a year from now and it's New York Times bestseller and everyone has it and they're all talking about it and tagging you on Instagram and social media. What's your intention a year from now?
I'm uh, I'm not a big intention setter. I live with so much passion that I don't really worry about tomorrow. I'm very present.
Mhm.
Um, but my dream is that there's one tip, one trick, one strategy in this book that will make somebody's tomorrow more awesome.
Mm.
Like I've lived this. I've used myself as a guinea pig over the past 20 years as a service journalist, and I know these strategies work and they're not BS. Like my whole thing as a service journalist is like if I wouldn't actually do that, then no one else would either, and don't tell me to do that. I don't care what science says if it doesn't have real world application. So
Mm.
what I think what the magic of this book is that because I've interviewed every PhD, every expert, written endless articles over the history of my career, and I know what actually works because I've tested on myself, tested it on my readers. At Self Magazine, I was the fitness director. Um, and the deputy editor for 9 years, and I ran a program called the Self Challenge, which was really about helping people get strong mind, body, and soul.
Mm.
And from coaching those hundreds of thousands of women, I really understood what was BS and what was a real life strategy. And so I think a lot of what is kind of awesome about this book is that it's stuff that actually works.
Mm.
And like some stuff, hey, like, and if something makes you roll your eyes, roll your eyes. But then the next tip might be the one. And all
Right.
you need is one or two tricks or tips from this book to be happier tomorrow. I
Yeah.
mean, if it's so fun for me. Like when people who know me from my childhood see me now, they're like, "It is so crazy to me that you have transformed into this person." And the
Mhm.
people who know me only from now are like, "That's impossible. There's no way you were that human."
Yeah.
Um, and I think both are an incredible compliment because I've absolutely trained to live this way. This is not we all have a very strong negativity bias and an inclination toward the negative. Mine's stronger than most, but I've absolutely flipped the switch and I do not live that way anymore. And this is a much nicer way to live.
I
I
agree.
promise you that.
I so agree. I so agree. It is a much, much nicer way to live. I'm just thinking like attracts like, and I actually went through that same thing in my writing process because I was so insecure about my ability to write that I felt like I needed to lean on research to validate my insecurity so they'll buy into the research more than they bought into me and my story. And I enrolled in the master level research class in order to like get all this research around athlete transition. And I'm reading this and I'm like, none of this would have helped me as an athlete.
Exactly.
And I'm still just stressing out, and I can't remember who said this to me, and I quote this all the time on podcasts and stuff, and I never give the person credit. So whoever you are, if you hear me quote this, please tell me it's you because this was so transformative in my life. And this person said to me, Daryl, why do you feel that you need to do all this research? And I said, well, because I want people to really buy into it, and I feel like I gotta have that. He said, listen, if a war of 100, if an army of 100 people went to war and only one came back as a survivor and wrote a book about it, would you ask them where's their research? And he said, Daryl, you are a survivor. You are the research. And I
That's
was like, crazy.
yeah.
But it's the real deal, and that's what's out there, and not that I don't value, what facts and terminology and science, but I love what you say about the real deal. So let me know this.
And I'll say this too. I
Yeah.
did reverse research in many instances. I'm like, I've been living this way and it works. Why?
Mhm. Yes.
Why the hell does this work so well?
Yeah.
And then I backed it up with science because I also didn't want it to be like, this is what Meaghan Murphy thinks. It was a lot. It was sort of a combination of like, I've been trying this trick and it works. Yay, science. And like, I've been doing this and it works. Why science?
Got you. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm a journalist, so by nature, I need like the
Gotta fact check.
why? Like I
Yeah.
always want the why and the how.
Yeah, I love it. So what's your favorite chapter or principle or tip in the book?
Oh, it's funny. It's like that's like picking a child, right? You're like, I don't know. I mean, my favorite one is whatever one works for you.
Oh, that's cheating. That is cheating.
I think something that came from the book that's in the book is the yay list. And I think it's something that works for many people. And I even have a standalone Instagram now called the yay list. So I was talking about when my father passed and I started Operation Good Grief, which was documenting something positive. And literally in the beginning was something that didn't suck every day, whether it was like, my pink glasses or foam on a latte, whatever it was, and using that hashtag Operation Good Grief. Kept that up for about 2 years. And ultimately, as I moved through the grief, I sort of transitioned from calling it Operation Good Grief to finding the yay. And then I began to make what I called a yay list and asked myself the question, what made you say yay today versus what didn't suck? And I sort of talk about it's sort of almost like a gratitude journal 2.0, because again, some of those, like, yes, writing in a gratitude journal is a great idea. It doesn't work for me. It feels like homework, like I don't do it. I do it like I'm grateful for, and I could do that for like a hot second and it doesn't work. But having a gratitude practice is magical. And like, if you can journal, awesome, didn't work for me. So creating a yay list, asking my family, what made you say yay today at dinner table or before bed, documenting on it on the yay list Instagram for me, like that is a magical exercise of appreciation that helps me see the power of awe and be awed and inspired by things around me. And I think it's a really easy exercise for anyone to adopt. It's just to stop in any day and just say, what made me say yay today? Like, what was something that stuck out for me? What was it? Like, was there like a great TV show? Did we have the most amazing dinner? Like, what was that one thing? Because when you start to focus on that one great thing every day, the great things start to come to the surface more easily and more quickly. And you begin to just see them and experience them more often.
I love it. And one thing that's coming to mind right now is I have two questions about this. So number one, how can people add more yay to their day? And then number two, like, do you think it's more of being intentional or is it developing an awareness to the yay in your days? I'm curious. What's your thoughts?
It's developing an awareness, right? Like stopping to, there's that old cliche, stop and smell the roses. Like, what does that really mean? Right? Like, how do you appreciate the world around you? And sometimes it's so simple as like, okay, I have to walk to the ATM machine. I'm going to walk on the opposite side of the street today to see what I notice. Like, how does the world look different from a different vantage point? Like,
Right.
we go through life on this autopilot where we stop seeing and we stop appreciating. Like, if you start to look at the world through the eyes of a child, where like, like they're fat. Like today, there was ice on the car window, and I'm scraping it, and my 8-year-old is like, "Oh my gosh, mom, can I try? Can I hold the scraper? Can I scrape some of that ice off the window?" You know what? Like, we all need to be like slightly entranced by something as weirdly magical as ice on a windshield, right? Like, if you just take a hot second and be like, wait, ice on a windshield, and putting his little hand in the scraper glove, he was like, this is so cool. And it just like wakes you up in that second. Like, when you begin to just have a little bit of that childlike wonder, like appreciate things just for a hot second, instead of being like ice on the windshield, right? Like, how does the 8-year-old approach that? I get to scrape ice on a windshield, right?
I get it, and my girls are like that, and I'm terrible. Honestly, I'm like the opposite. I'm like, what's so amazing about that? And I enjoy solitude, and maybe it's because I spend so much of my time with people and pouring out and connecting, that like the way that I refuel and the things that I find fun is like reading and watching documentaries and like going to the movies by myself.
That's the thing. Well, people also like, that's the thing, is there's a million different things that are going to give you those lightning bolts of recharge and energy, and you have to figure out what they are, right? Like, and you have to. It is very individual, and I outline endless ways that all people can get their charges, and you just have to kind of develop your own formula from everything outlined in the book.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Go get the book, everybody. Head over to our website. We'll make sure our team will drop the link. And when you get promo copy, I'll be happy to send it out to our email list, because I'm loving what I'm hearing, and I think the world needs it. I'm so glad. It's such a timely message for people to recharge. And so I'm so glad that you're doing this work.
Thank you, Jared.
I'm really curious about, how do you find stories, and how do you choose which stories you tell?
If a story moves me, I need to tell it. And I mean, to be honest, like, a lot of the stories I tell are people I've met, people I've heard about, some pitching, a lot on social media. Like, I find a lot of great stuff, and I connect with a lot of awesome people. I connected with you on social media. I find that's a really neat way to meet and connect with people. All different kinds of things. It really depends. Like, I'll basically say to my team, like, I want to do a teacher appreciation feature. Let's find the best teachers out there. And like, okay, well, so-and-so from so-and-so has a cousin in Nebraska who's doing this amazing thing. And that, they come from so many different places. Like, we crowdsource great stories. And like, here's the thing, is when you put out the feelers for those stories, they come kind of easily.
Yeah, I agree. What moves you?
What moves me? Oh gosh. Well, I let almost everything move me. I feel deeply.
Are you the person that cries like out loud at the movie?
Oh, I cry. Oh, my kids are like, Mom, are you crying again? Are you crying again? I love to cry. I find it very like cathartic and healing. And I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad. I don't mind a little teary reset. But I feel everything, and I feel deeply, and I feel it with no embarrassment.
Wow. Do you think it's what you've been through that helps you to be that way? Because I'm the same way.
I guess so. I mean, what I say in life is, like, I just don't hide my feelings in any way or thoughts in any way, because I feel like when you broadcast where you're at and what you're going through, you attract other people that will ultimately help you and be there for you. I tell this story all the time. I was at Orange Theory running on a treadmill, and I was hysterically crying. I had just found out my father had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Exercise is part of my medicine, my happy pill. So the first thing I do is go to an Orange Theory class, but I'm on the treadmill hysterically crying. And the woman next to me, who I didn't know, was like, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" And I'm like, "My dad has pancreatic cancer." And she was like, oh my goodness, my dad died of pancreatic cancer 10 years ago. Like, I'm here for you. And I wound up, because I was so open in that moment and so vulnerable in the moment, finding a friend who wound up being like a really solid support system through that process of like, here's what to expect. Here was my experience. Like, you will get through it. It will be okay. But like somebody who actually understood what that diagnosis meant and could actually kind of be this amazing support to me in a way that my best friends in the world couldn't, because they didn't know what that meant. But that was all a product of being open and vulnerable. Every time I'm vulnerable and every time I'm open, good things happen. The world gives you what you need. You find the people and you connect with the things that are going to help you heal, and maybe you're going to help other people heal.
Yeah, I remember talking to my friend Michelle Patterson. We were having this conversation on her real share show, and it was like we were talking about love and vulnerability and like all of these like softer, I'm doing air quotes, softer terms. And I said on this, I said, I know there's going to be those type A people who are just like, get to the strategy, get to the tactics. And I was like, this is the strategy. This is the tactic. Why do you think it's so hard for people to be vulnerable and to have that posture that you're describing?
Well, because it can be seen as weakness, right? And I think as long as once you get over that, there's strength in vulnerability, not weakness, and that it actually can be an incredible asset and give you back exactly what you need. And once you see it, once you like kind of pull the Band-Aid off and let the tears flow and realize it's not so bad and it's not so scary and like it's all okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, for me, so much good has come from living open. I call it living with my cab light on, open to possibility, and ready for whatever comes next, whatever adventure, whatever travel. I'm ready. But once you realize good things happen when you live out loud, I think it's less and less scary.
I love that. Good things happen when you live out loud. Guys, if you did not catch that, write that down. I'm stealing it. That's going to
I
my
should
next
write it
stand-up.
down. That's not in the book. That's new.
I'll steal it. And, I'll give you credit 3 times, and then after that, it's mine. Okay.
Fair enough.
One of the things that I admire about your story, and so because I was going to ask the question about, man, you got so much going on, magazines and tribes and podcasts and children, and I was going to ask the management question, but the thing that I would prefer to ask is, I see you as being a tribe builder master, right? You build real strong communities that buy into the brand. And I know that there's a ton of our athlete fan base and entrepreneurs, because I'm connected with them too, that's what they're ultimately trying to do, is build a tribe around a common interest.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to them and teach them some principles in building tribes.
I think it's so the key about that is it can't be calculated. It has to be authentic, right? So I have different tribes, right? So I have my good vibe tribe, dawn patrol, morning workout tribe, and that formed very naturally. We're all up at 5 a.m. We're all in the gym. We're all there for the same purpose. We're all crazy enough to be at the gym at 5 a.m. for our workout. And I built this very strong community of people there, right? Like that's my workout tribe. And then I have my mom tribe, and that is going to be the moms are going to help me carpool for soccer because I'm working 3 jobs and they're not. And they're going to remind me that the PTO dues were there and I didn't pay them, or that there's a bake sale on Sunday that no one told me about. Like I have that mom tribe that I lean on. Like you have different pockets of people that you lean on in different pockets of the community, but it's all around a common interest and a shared passion. But you have to be sort of very clear and open and truthful about whatever that interest or passion is to attract the right people.
I love it. I love it. I think one of the things that it's so funny, when we're good at stuff, it's so hard to explain how we do it because it's just so natural to us. And you're describing something that's very, very natural to you. And it's really authenticity, right? Because for you, it's not a strategy to build a tribe. It's just about being authentic and finding people who are interested in the same things you're interested in. But I know
Exactly.
people who feel like they have to be someone that they're not.
Well, then you're going to find the wrong tribe, which is just a waste of energy,
I
right?
so agree.
Like, okay, cool. Like, now you have this bullshit posse. Great. Like, what good is that?
I love it. I love the sarcasm in that. I want to begin to land this plane, and this has been phenomenal. By the way, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
You
you.
know, I always like to leave with a kind of a heartfelt question and then something positive. So we're going to do that for our last two questions. So my heartfelt question for you today is, what do you want to be remembered for?
Sure. Oh, that's easy for me. I know that I want to leave a legacy of positive energy, and I think have talked about this. So one of the gifts of having my father die of cancer, but like with a stage 4 cancer diagnosis, we definitely had 5 months to try on the idea of losing him, to talk him to him and ask the tough questions. And I got to say, what do you want your legacy to be? Like, how do you want to be remembered? And from that moment on, I knew I had to ask that same question of myself, and I needed to start living that way. Right. So it was like, okay, I need to really, really think about how I want to be remembered, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. So I better be living right now. Right, like I need to
Yeah.
be living my legacy right now. And that was absolutely the moment where I knew I had to write this book. I knew that my purpose on this planet is to help people live with positive energy.
Mhm. I love it. What did you admire most about your father?
He was really funny and he was really good at puns. And he encouraged my creativity endlessly. I would make these like stupid cards called mega cards, and it was like my ripoff of Hallmark. And he would like ooh and ah over them. And like when I started, I was a cub reporter at the Star Ledger in New Jersey. He framed every newspaper article I ever wrote. I mean, and my first one was about an exterminator who I called the Sultan of SWAT, but he was framed in the basement. So my biggest thing was my father was my biggest cheerleader, and he encouraged my creativity and a passion. And I think probably instilled my confidence in my work. Because he was always like, "Oh my gosh, that was amazing! That was I framed it in the basement. There's collage it. Good job, good job, good job." Um, and after he passed, my best friend knew. Like after I was on the Today Show or any show, he'd be like, "Best segment ever. You should be the host. You did a great job." So now my best friend calls me, Heather, love you, calls me after my TV appearances and like, you should have been the host. Great, best job ever. You were awesome. Like she does that for me, because the thing is, we need those cheerleaders in life,
We
right?
do.
Because
Yeah.
like that instilled a level of confidence and can do in me that like I really thought I could do and can do anything, because I
Mhm.
always had this cheerleader. I mean, that was the hardest thing about his loss.
Wow. You
Aside from the fact that, damn it, my kids are cheated out of a grandfather.
I know, I know.
That sucks.
That's challenging. You know, I've never met your father, but I see him in you,
Oh, thank you.
and it's amazing. It's amazing. I know he's a great man. So let's end on a positive note. Ah,
That's my jam.
what I don't know. I was thinking like, how can someone find their fun? Like, how can someone find their fun? Like, I don't know. Leave us with something positive or something fun. It's open ended.
Well, okay, it's Friday, so here's your assignment. It's
Okay.
pizza fry, yay, and you need to eat pizza tonight.
Pizza fry,
Yeah,
yay.
it's
Okay.
Friday.
So pizza
So,
night.
so the fun today is pizza night.
Deal. I'll make it
Okay,
homemade. We'll make a whole deal with the
but
girls.
you got
So
to say fry, yay, pizza fry, yay.
I don't know if I can hit that note. I'll sing it in tenor though.
Do it.
Friday. Okay, we got
Yes,
that. We got that. All right, we're gonna do that with our family and our cute little girls, and we're gonna tag you on Instagram just to take up on the challenge. And by the way,
I love
if
it.
you're watching this in the replay and it's still Friday, do it. You got to eat pizza tonight and make it fun. Make it
Or
fun.
if it's Wednesday, make it wing it Wednesday. If it's Tuesday, get out those tacos. We can make up a run for every day of the week. Okay, there's always an excuse to have fun.
Man, this has been amazing. If someone is like, I just love that lady's energy, I want to buy your book, I want to do everything, where can they connect with you?
Well, I'm on Instagram at Meaghan B Murphy, Meaghan B Murphy, and there's a link in my bio to buy the book. But it's available pre-order right now wherever books are sold, on Amazon. I always say hit up your local mom and pop shop. I love bookstores and would love to send the business to local bookstores as much as Amazon. Yay, Amazon! I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me, but I love a local bookstore.
I'm with you. I got you. I got you. Thank you. Make sure you guys go buy the book. We're buying the book, and I'm so excited. So again, thank you for your time today. This has been amazing, guys. You already know, like, show her some love in the comments. Make sure you go order the book. Thank you for tuning in today. I want to make sure that we invite you to join us again at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, I'm interviewing Brian Pruitt, who's a motivational speaker. He's a former All-American athlete. He's not better than I was. I'm just kidding. He actually played with my father, which is like so cool. And he's a beast. He still looks like he plays. And he's like, I don't know, probably like going close to 50 now. And he's still in amazing shape. But he has this organization called Power of Dad. And it's all about like solving the fatherlessness issue in our country. And so you guys are going to love him. We're going to talk all things fatherhood and parenting, motivation. I might just let him just go off. Like, this guy's like Les Brown Jr. So join us back at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember that no matter what you've been through, no matter the mistakes you made, that life always awards us second chances. And second chances exist so we can finish strong. Finish strong, my friends.